Hey guys, figured we'd do something a little bit different. I've been getting tons of questions. I actually just polled on Instagram, and then I also have a bunch of comments and things like that I wanted to go through that are on their YouTube, and also just that have come in. Some good ones, some silly ones. This big thing, there's this, I get this a lot. Everybody's on this oil kick as far as like, not even the no oil, which we know how to cook, but it's like, canola oil is bad for you. All these seed oils, guys. Check out Plant Proof as he debates. He monitors, not monitors. What do you call it? Mediates a debate between two doctors who talk about oil. Our whole theory on oil is it's you utilize it. It's a tool. You don't need to drink it, but it's got some great benefits in cooking, as far as searing and this and that. So. All you guys who come at me with the canola oil, look, that's great. This is a video. You don't have to use it. So that's about it. That's all I got on that one. How do we make mushrooms less chewy? I never seem to get the texture right. All right, so this is a common question. And it depends on the mushroom. If you're talking king oyster mushrooms and shredded mushrooms, there's always going to be some bounce and chewiness to it. It depends also how you cook it. If you leave it raw, it's going to be chewy. I've cooked these mushrooms probably every which way, and the boiling them works. In soups I think in soups they're amazing. We're talking king oyster mushrooms. Those are probably the most chewy out of all of them. So if you're going to do a pulled pork or that, if you compare the king oyster mushroom to, like, say, jackfruit's not chewy enough, whereas maybe sometimes the king oyster mushroom is too chewy. It all depends on what you're making and how you cook it, and also the density of the mushroom, because not all mushrooms are created equal. Some are really small and tight and have less moisture, and they're really strong, and then you get the bigger ones that you find in some of the Asian markets, and they're much looser and just a lot more air in them. So it's not always chewy. And I enjoy the texture because there's some bounce when I used to eat animal products. So, and that brings us to, I saw there was a question here about animals. Where do you get your lion's mane mushrooms in the US? So currently I'm in Austin, Texas, and I get them from HiFi Mycology, and they deliver. They do all the farmers markets here. Sean is amazing. He grows some amazing mushrooms. So we've been using his mushrooms for when we do Hot Luck Fest in the summer. Hopefully we'll be doing that again this year. We did it last year. We were the only plant-based vegan chefs invited to come and cook for an all-meat festival, which was a great experience. And it was really awesome to see so many people that were just really into it and into the mushrooms, and just, we didn't label it vegan. It was just my name and then Wicked Kitchen. And we were just grilling these huge mushrooms that you see me doing all the time. And these rancher guys would come up, and all the people were coming up and like, whoa, what is that? I mean, the mushrooms were the size of my head. I've done videos, and I'll share another one soon. But they're so amazing. And on the grill with the embers, it's just so sexy. And these guys are coming up, and they're just like, what kind of steak is that? And I'm like, it's a mushroom steak. And they were so blown away, calling over their wives and their friends. Come check this out. It's a mushroom. And that's what I want. That's what we want. It's what we achieve for, is just blowing people away with delicious food. It has nothing to do with anything else. That's what's going to change people's minds, is their taste buds. So if we can make them look and taste amazing, why wouldn't you just eat it? The vegan option, right? Anyways, next one. I would like more recipes with mushrooms. Wow, Lucas. I'm glad you said that, because I will be doing some more mushrooms. I actually just shot a recipe doing mushrooms, and we figured we'd do some of these questions and answers just to break up the monotony of it all. We also have the mushroom, what do we call it? The Mushroom Manifesto on our website. If you go to wickedkitchen.com, you can download it for free. All we ask is that you sign up for the newsletter, which is a great thing. We have all up-to-date news on there about what new recipes that we're doing, and also new product launches that we're we're launching, but more mushroom recipes will be coming. Oh, this is nice. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. Things have been a little bit different for me lately. I'm in the US. I'm usually in the UK. I reside in the UK now. And yeah, I'm doing pretty well. The camera guy back here is trying to force me to do more videos cooking. And I feel like at my old age, I can only do so many in a day now. And, you know, if you don't know me already, at least if you followed me a little bit, I'm an extreme introvert unless I get in front of the camera. And then I can just do my job. But it's not my favorite thing to do, be in front of people or be in large groups or talking to people. It's not the easiest thing for me to do. So I'm doing all right. I'm doing really much better when I have Frankie with me, my pup. And I do miss her, so I gotta go get back there home to see her soon. Where do you get range? How much protein per mushroom steak? Look, mushrooms have a fair amount of protein. I'm not a scientist, and nor do I really ever search for what's in protein. I've never heard of anybody who died of a protein deficiency. I don't have any issues or problems. I couldn't tell you because I don't study that stuff. I just study how to make it taste really freaking good. And I know for me, protein is just this satiation I feel and what makes me full and happy. And mushrooms do that. So especially in place of animal products, you know, I'm not telling anybody to switch for good, but just try the mushrooms. I think you'll love them. And yeah, protein, we're not doctors, we're chefs. So we're good on that one. Another one, what's your dog's name? I named my dog Frankie Miss America. Because I'm in the UK, and Miss America, she's gorgeous. I love my pup, as I love all animals. And yeah, so Frankie, I call her Frankie, aka Miss America. What's your plan now that you've stepped down from Tesco? Good question. So I recently left Tesco. My contract was up, so I was brought over to help kickstart the whole plant-based revolution over there and launch Wicked Kitchen, and then also develop and launch Plant Chef, their own label brand. So for now, you know, I've been taking it a little bit easier, thinking about what I'm going to do. I want to spend more time in the US and travel a little bit. I also really want to buy a conversion van, and I want to live in the van. I want to take the dog, and I want to travel to all the mushroom growers in America and North America. And I want to go see all the plant-based companies and farm sanctuaries and farmers. I think, you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I'm dedicated to spending as much time as I possibly can with my dog. When I got her, I promised myself that I would make her a priority. So I'll spend as much time with her as possible. And that would probably mean not being in a restaurant kitchen 100% of the time like I used to be. So until I can figure out a way where I can trust people to run a restaurant, then I probably won't do that right off the bat. It's not out of the question. But anyways, I want to get a van. I want to drive around the country and Europe, UK. It'd be amazing to just go and support and collaborate with other mushroom growers and chefs and everybody who wants to promote more plant-based is what I want to do. Hope that answers your question. Are you working on any restaurant concepts based on Wicked Kitchen? Well, in fact, we are. I'm sitting in one. So my brother is in Austin, Texas, and we have this amazing facility here called Wicked Kitchen Event Center. And this is where we're holding supper clubs right now. So once a month so far. And then we are planning on doing some more different concepts during the week. It won't be a regular style restaurant because I'm not sure those are the best business model. So we're just playing with certain things. We have the kitchen here to film some of these film things we have going on, these YouTube videos. And then also about our products, which you can see. We have some products back here. We'll be shooting how to make those and what to use with them, how to cook them better, blah, blah, blah. So I love the idea of a restaurant. I think about it nonstop. I just think it's in your blood. If you're a chef and you're cooking all the time, you just want to have a restaurant. And I don't know whether that's an ego thing or just some way to outlet for our creativity, but I battle with it because I've owned 3 restaurants before, and I know how much time they take. They are a life decision. It's not something I take lightly. And if I do it, I want to do it really, really well. So I'm not sure about that one yet. It's not off the table, but not yet. I'm sad you left Tesco as you revolutionized the plant-based food here. Will you stay in the UK? That's a good question. And, I've been in the UK for 6 years, and I would like to stay there, but I also want to be in America. So when I went to the UK, I went by myself. Nobody. So it was like the 3rd or 4th time that I've just packed up everything I owned, which was in 2 suitcases, and moved to the UK by myself, working with, everybody is great, but it's still a big life change. And yeah, I've been away from family, my son, and for a long time. So I would like to spend more time in the US, whether or not I live there, I live in the UK, come back and forth. I don't exactly know. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about, and I'm just waiting for the right answer to pop into my head. I hope that answers your question. I don't know it on my own, so it's hard to answer fully. But I love the UK. I love the UK. The people are amazing. The vegan food scene, I do think that the UK is number 1 in plant-based food. What we've done over there, what all the traders and the food stalls, you guys, some amazing vegan food in the UK, and I'm so proud to be a part of that. And I'm so proud and happy for all the people I've met and worked with over the years there. They're just amazing, and I just encourage you to keep going and keep doing more plant-based stuff. It's amazing. Oh, yes, Mr. D, I live in Turkey but want to move and live out of this continent. Can you help me? I can't. Unfortunately, I cannot unless you're eating vegan. I can help inspire you a little bit more to eat more vegan by watching our channels and pages. And if you come to the UK or the US or Finland or Thailand, we do have products in the stores there that can help. Sorry, I can't help any other way. All right, here's a good one. Did you start out as a plant-based chef or previously cooked meat? So I like that question because I did not start out as a plant-based chef or vegan chef. My brother has been vegan for as long as I can tell. I am older than Chad, and he has been vegan since high school time, when he was in high school. So I didn't go vegan until 7 years ago, completely vegan. But before that, I practiced cooking vegan because my job as the global chef for Whole Foods Market was to implement plant-based foods into some of the events and the catered parties. So it was interesting because back then what I did in order to do it correctly without anybody giving me any hassle is I took a normal buffet where you have everything was always animal products, and then you had one vegan thing if you were lucky. I just flipped that on its head and made everything vegan except for the animal products at the end. And so that really started, it changed my mind, and I realized like this is totally doable. And then also it changed everybody who eats it. So our whole thing, and Wicked really was starting to come alive. Our whole thought process is just like, get good food in front of people and don't label it as such as like vegan or non-vegan. It's just delicious food first. And that's what we shoot for. So yes, I ate meat before. I cooked a lot of meat. I owned all my restaurants had meat in them. I understand what it is to cook them. I'm not proud of all that, but I also value that experience because it made me the chef that I am today. And I can apply all that learning to cooking vegetables and mushrooms, and it's all about taking a little bit of risk. If you want to try something, that's what I think chefs are really good at, is trying things and making them delicious. What is your absolute favorite cuisine to prepare? That's a good question because it's hard to tell. There's so many different ones. I really love Thai food. Recently, I took a short sabbatical and went to Thailand to cook with really a master chef in Thai cuisine, and I loved it. The flavors are so bold and powerful and fragrant and just in your face and spicy. I loved the spicy. I get a lot of people and a lot of comments on here where people are like, why do you add spicy? Why did that? Guys, it's a picture and it's a video. It's just funny, social media, how the people will comment on things like that. So Thai food is really good. Mexican food's amazing. I mean, some of the American food, barbecue. It really just depends on what mood you're in and how hungry you are and what's there that you can eat that you really want to eat. You know, I love pizza. I pretty much love every kind of food. So it's hard to tell. But I would have to say, if there's any one item I really love to cook, that would be mushrooms. Is probably my favorite thing to actually cook, is all the mushrooms, because it really is mind-blowing with what we can do with mushrooms. And I've seen so many other people using the techniques that we developed. It's really amazing, and I appreciate just getting it out there. It's awesome. Any advice or words of wisdom for chefs who say they won't or can't cook anything vegan? Well, that's obviously wrong because I'm doing it. And I used to make fun of my brother because he was vegan for so long and I would never do it. I just thought he was a hippie, crunchy vegan guy. And it's kind of, I mean, it's funny looking back on it now, but you know, I do wish I would have changed a little bit earlier and just been more of a support and help. You know, I'm glad I'm doing it now, and that's all I do. But for anybody who's saying you can't, I just think it's a cop out. You know, it's your ego talking and your pride. And, you know, I relate going plant-based and vegan, even as a chef, is cooking more plant-based and vegan, is to the 5 steps of grief. And I've talked about this quite a bit in a few of the speaking things I've had to do. Whereas I'm very familiar with grief, and when you lose somebody, it really does change you. So what happens is you go through all the 5 steps. You know, you deny it first. You're super angry about it. You slowly start to rationalize things like, oh, I could do it. I could do it 1 day a week, you know, and not be so angry about it. You just have to look up 5 steps of grief and see where you're at. But every person that I talk to is on that journey somewhere, and you can usually tell by the way they speak to you, whether they're just like, I am never going to do that. I could never do that. Pfft, whatever, man. You eat peanut butter and toast that's freaking vegan. So anyways, I would just encourage more chefs to actually cook and put more vegan options on it, because it determines whether or not I come to the restaurant. And I'm tired of having to say that, you know, I'll come back there and do it for myself, but it just doesn't make me want to go out to eat at all. I just do it at home because I can cook myself. And the guys who are vegan do an amazing job. You know, like I will give a shout out to my buddy Tal, Crossroads Kitchen. He was one of the first guys doing really well, amazing vegan food in LA. And yeah, super inspired by him and like a lot of the other vegan chefs that have really grabbed life by the balls and just freaking gone and opened a place. Congrats.
Real quick, what do you think about places like Wagamama that have just extensive vegan options?
Like Wagamama, yeah, I love the fact that Wagamama has half of their menu as vegan. I've actually worked a little bit with those guys. They have an amazing team. Steve is an amazing chef, and they're so open-minded about that and a lot of things. But they also want to put the customers first and whatever people want. And they know in the UK, a lot of people want vegan options. Some people don't. And some people mix and bounce between. The only way anybody's ever going to try it is if it's available. It's really important. Nobody's going to try it if it's not available. So make it available, because there's always a 1 or 2 vegan or plant-based people, or who people are trying to eat that way, that are in any group. And by not having that food, you're missing out on customers.
Yeah, I think that's like something I experienced at that restaurant. Is like because it's such a big menu and there's plenty of animal products available, but there's things like vegan calamari.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They like you said, like you might be sitting there with 3 or 4 other people, and someone's curious and wants to try that, or someone's plant-based or vegan and they want to try it, and then like the meat eaters are kind of like,
yeah, what's that? That's amazing.
Like,
yeah. Oh, I would never thought that. Yeah. I mean, that's usually the reaction we get a lot with the food that we make too. I love it. Oh, suggestions on where to purchase the amazing mushrooms you use in the US. So I said a little bit earlier, in Austin, Texas, HiFi Mycology. There's another company called Smallhold that is in LA, I believe, Austin, and New York. They sell into Whole Foods Market. There's really, in New Hampshire, I know there's New Hampshire mushrooms, there's Dunk's mushrooms. I've been to some, but this is another reason. This is why I want to get a conversion van kitted out to cook things so I can drive around the country and literally just go to all these mushroom growers, see their operation, maybe film it, and then cook them something with it. Because what I've noticed is all these mushroom growers, most of them, are not chefs, and they just don't know how to help promote their mushrooms. So I really want the mushrooms to come into the light and be a lot more available. We did get them. I did help get to Tesco to sell more of the king oyster mushrooms, which I think they're coming back, and then also the cluster mushrooms, and also a couple other projects that we're going to be showing up soon, transitioning a chicken farm into a mushroom farm, and that's coming. We'll have that up. That's really exciting stuff. So yeah, so in the US, my best suggestion for you is, because I get this question a lot on a lot of the videos that I do cooking mushrooms, I would just Google around you for farmers markets, see if there's any mushroom sellers in there and where are they. And then what I do is I just call them up, ask them if I can come visit, or if I can't and if it's too far away, I just ask them what they have, what they're growing, just get to know them. There's no harm is going to come from knowing your growers. It's the whole local bit, support your local mushroom growers and your local farmers. Big fan of that. If without farmers, we wouldn't be having any food to eat at all. Recipes for lion's mane on commando barbecue. It's often in your reels, but never given times, etc. So when I do the barbecue mushrooms, you'll see in some of these videos, I'm always pressing the mushrooms first here, because I want to get them, by pressing them, that gets them to the point where I feel like they're close to an animal product. They're flatter, more like a steak. I press them with oil most of the time. Some of the times, which I haven't done a lot of videos of yet, is I've been pressing them with more of a water to not have that caramelized glaze on them. But I really love that texture and the sear. But I've been doing it sometimes with water when I don't want that. So like if I want to emulate like a fish steak or something and I don't want that browning color, I want it as white as possible, I'll use water. So always press them, and then you can marinate them, and they can sit in the marinade overnight if you want, and that just infuses a lot more flavor, whether it's a lion's mane steak or an oyster cluster steak, whatever kind of mushroom steak, and then grill it. So as far as, the question is so open, smoking mushrooms is different. So in Austin, we'll smoke mushrooms when I have a smoker available, because I like to do the outdoor smoking. Like Aaron Franklin, if you know that guy, Franklin's Barbecue in Austin, Texas, one of the most popular barbecue joints ever. Here, they have a line around the block every single day, and they sell out every single day, the briskets. So I've read his cookbooks. I've met him. He's an amazing guy. And he's the one who invited me to come and cook at the Hot Luck Fest. So I want to cook a lot like him. If you see people who do something really well, just emulate what they do, learn how they do it. And he's got a couple good cookbooks. We have a cookbook, couple of them, and we do the videos. So I don't know any temps and times on barbecue, because it's just so different and it depends on what you're making. So I hope that is a little bit helpful, and we'll try to do some more videos as soon as it gets nicer out and we can get outside to barbecue more.
Was that question specifically about cooking it on the grill?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's like more about feel.
Yeah, so a lot of it has to do with feel.
Like watch and read, and then keep testing it until you get it right.
This another good question is, how did you learn how to cook mushrooms? Well, how did I learn how to cook mushrooms? I really started, I've always been cooking mushrooms as a chef, but nothing to the extent of we're doing now. Till I moved to Portland, Oregon from Austin, Texas. And that was where I was introduced to going foraging. And then the mushrooms at the farmer's market there, Portland Farmer's Market, hands down, best farmer's market I've ever been to. That is like a setup breakdown. It's not always on. So these guys just do an amazing job. Sundays, Wednesdays, and I would be the first one up in line. They would ring the bell that they could make a sale, and I was there picking the mushrooms. So for 6 years, I did that. I think 6 years. How long did I live there? Yeah, anyways, 4 or 5 years. And that's all I did was cook mushrooms, because if I was going to be vegan, I needed to make sure I didn't lose, the coolness of cooking. For me, it still has to be cool. It has to make me happy. And I just want to be doing something cool. The cast iron pans, the sharp knives, the hardwood butcher blocks, the clicking of the tongs, everything, is just, it has to be what I want to do. And I did fear when I went vegan that I might lose that. And so I was like, if I'm going to do this, because my taste buds are not more important than any animal's life. And I wanted to live by my moral code and live by my moral compass, everything. And I just wanted it to be amazing, to cook amazing food still. So I forced myself to trial over and over again mushrooms, cooking mushrooms. How could I make them dense? How could I make them like steaks? How can I make it so much more like an animal product than we're used to? And I just taught myself how to do it, to be honest with you, just knowing how I used to cook meat and applied it to cooking mushrooms. There might be a little bit of craziness in there. I don't know, but I just practice trial and error. Okay. How did you learn to cook mushrooms? Where can you get your lion's mane mushrooms in the UK? Are you getting them into Tesco soon? I honestly don't think they'll go into mainstream retail yet. They're too young. They need to be grown quite a bit more. But it'd be amazing if they were. If they do get, I'd be amazed. But I think they're also a little bit too expensive at the moment for the likes of Tesco or any retailer in the UK. But I get the mushrooms the lion's manes from Marvelous Mushrooms. Give those guys a shout out. I get their mushroom kits, so I actually get to grow them. And so you get the experience of growing them, and I get 2 flushes. So a flush is a growth. So each one will grow 1 or 2. It depends on how you cut the package, so the mycelium can grow out into 1 or 2 blossoms. I like to get 1 big one when I can. And then after you pick it, it'll grow another flush in another 10 to 15 days. So you get, for minimal cost, I think I paid £20 a block. You get the experience. It's a great talking piece when you have people over. You get to watch it grow. And then, especially if you have kids or anything, you get them invested in it. So many people are scared of mushrooms. I wouldn't be scared at all. They're just amazingly meaty and delicious and awesome. So yeah, Marvelous Mushrooms. And then also Smithy Mushrooms. And then there's another mushroom emporium. I will let you know, because there's a few more coming up that have contacted me. So I'm excited to work with any mushroom grower. If you know of any mushroom growers, let them know. I would make all these content for them so they can help. So they can use it to sell their mushrooms. We just want to help. We want to help raise everybody up at the same time. And I'm all about working with mushroom growers. When are we going to collab? I see you. I see you. Look, I'm totally up for collabing. My only issue in the UK is I don't drive, so it's hard for me to get around. If you want to collab, you might have to come up to the house and we'll do it there. But I'm always up for doing a collaboration. It's just hard to do it in a restaurant. And we'll see. Have you tried Romanian food? I can't say that I know if I have or not. And honestly, the past 3 years, with COVID, and then, just recently, this past year, I haven't really traveled. Actually, I did travel a lot. What am I talking about? I went to Nepal, I went to Thailand, came to America for a whole bunch. But I can't say I've had Romanian food, but I do look forward to it. Any kind of cuisine I'm excited about. Are you available? Am I available? Does that mean to cook? to cook for you? I don't know what that means. If it means like I don't have it. My partner in crime is my dog, and that's how I like it. I'm pretty much yeah. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Appreciate the question though. Oh, that's all I got on the phone. So now I was just going to answer some of these silly ones I see on the computer. Oh, I already talked about the canola oil, blah, blah, blah. So somebody's commented on one of the lion's mane mushroom steaks that I've done on. I've been posting quite a few shorts as we ramp up. So the YouTube, you guys, we are ramping up. We're coming back. We had to take a little bit of a break because of COVID. It's just hard to get our awesome camera guy over here and us together. And so now we're going to be back doing that. It'll be a lot more. We want to do different style playlists, so not just me cooking behind a stove here. We'll probably get out, if I get the van, we'll probably go out and film that. Film the cooking in a van, cooking outside, cooking camp. Like there's so many different scenarios to be cooking in. I'm excited about that. Okay, so I cooked these mushrooms. For the first time, they tasted wonderful, but the second time, my mushroom had a slightly bitter flavor. Is there any way to tell that mushrooms and counter that bitterness? So I would say the bitter flavor, I get this, some people don't have great experiences. I've not had a bad experience with the mushroom. The only time I've had a bad experience with the mushroom is when the mushroom was bad. And they do go off. It's best to cook them when they're fresh and they're not browned. There's a level of brownness that's acceptable, but if it smells funky, don't cook it. There's funk that's great, and then there's funk that you don't want to eat. And don't eat bad mushrooms. It's just a bad experience. But I would encourage you to eat fresh ones, and just check the mushrooms. Usually, most farmers markets have really fresh mushrooms because they're picking them to bring you that day or the next day, which is fantastic. Sometimes retailers, they might you might just have to cook them right away. I'm not saying they'd sell bad mushrooms, but always look at the dates if they have a date, and just you can tell by the smell. If it smells fishy and seafoody, I wouldn't eat it. A lot of people say lion's mane are like seafood. I've never experienced that. It tastes like whatever seasoning I put on it. If I want to put Old Bay and butter on it, then that's what it tastes like. Old Bay is a seafoody flavor to me. Plant-based butter adds that mouthfeel and texture. And that's another question. I'll go on a little rant. A lot of people comment that I add too much oil. And you're not me. And if you're commenting on that, you're not a chef. Because a lot of chefs know exactly how to make food taste good. And I want food to taste amazing. So mushrooms have no fat in them whatsoever. So when I'm oil in the pan, it's there to sear the mushroom. And then that mushroom and whatever liquid comes out, it evaporates. I add a little bit more oil. I add what is needed as a tool. I don't just drizzle and pour oil onto something. Everything I do is for a reason when I'm cooking mushrooms especially. So I want that mouthfeel and texture. I'm not changing anybody's mind if it doesn't taste good. Everybody's you're either about health or not. Everybody has a different perspective about it. Healthy is an individual thing now. It's not just this brushstroke across everything. If you're healthy because you think drinking just juice and water is healthy, then that's fine. That's great. It works for you. What works for me is a range, and we wrote it in our cookbook, in the Wicked Healthy Cookbook, 80% healthy, as long as you're eating, and I'm eating, as long as I'm eating 80% healthy, like greens and grains and beans and not too much oil, but then also 20% wicked, because I have that indulgent side. I want to enjoy ice cream. I want to enjoy a freaking mushroom steak. I want to enjoy a burger and not feel guilty about it because I know I'm eating healthy later on that day, or I ate healthy this morning. It's all about balance. So all these stupid comments that come at me, like, that's not healthy, it's way too much. Well, whatever. I'm just going to not answer them anymore because it's silly. You do you. This is a video. I'm just trying to inspire you to cook more. You don't have to cook this way. You can use much less oil. You can use more oil. You can deep fry it. I really don't care. I care that people eat less animals, and how you do that is up to you. Oh, what else? Making this for dinner. I thought it was called, yeah. You know what? Lion's mane does look like cauliflower a lot, especially these huge ones that we get. I really think this is about it to wrap it up.
Switch over to YouTube and just kind of go through like unanswered comments so far.
Yeah, this is what I have. This is what I'm opening onto YouTube now. I love people who like, what? No nooch? It does look very easy. I don't understand some of these questions. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining me in this little rant. I just thought it'd be better and it's easier and faster than typing with my two thumbs. I try to respond to as many as possible. Our amazing camera guy, he tries to respond to some of the things. We have my brother, who rarely is ever on here and responding to anything, but he's also got a family. And yeah, hopefully we'll do some more of these. If you guys do have some pressing questions, shoot me over YouTube or over my Instagram, Derek Sarno. There's also Wicked Kitchen Instagram. And you guys, wickedkitchen.com. We have all our new product launches happening. And that's about it. So I really look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you feel so inclined, subscribe, hit the like button, all that funky jazz, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.